Hi, this is BlackSheep. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a full review, full desktop review on my new handgun, the 9mm Smith and Wesson SD9 VE. Alright, first of all, get her out of the box. She comes with, we can do a safety check here, clear, chrome plated magazines. You gotta like that, huh? It was the last time I had a gun that had chrome plated magazines. And you get two of them included. Let me get this out of here. Two of them included. At $2.99, I'm sure most of you know that's the allure of this pistol. That's one of the main reasons I bought it. This thing was $2.99. Oops, I struggle with the box. You do not get a nice hard case like you would with a more expensive pistol, but hey, for $2.99, like I said, you could buy two of these almost for the price of a Glock. So, let's start with the magazine. Chrome plated, as I mentioned, and they are 16 round magazines. There's some confusion out there, I think, because of the design. If you look at the witness holes on the magazine, you probably can't see that, but on the one side it'll count down to 15. You flip it on over, it goes to 16. So if you looked at the wrong side of the magazine, you might think that this was a 15 shot magazine, but they do hold 16 rounds. We'll discuss. I don't think I've had any trouble loading 16 rounds in here yet. I've seen some things online. You can leave some comments below if you guys have had any issues getting full mags loaded. Breaks down just like the Glock 19. Let's go ahead and, before we break her down, let's go over the gun a little bit more. So, 16 round magazine, as I mentioned, chrome plated, stainless steel. The name, let's talk a little bit about the name, in case you guys don't know. I just swept my head, didn't I? Smith and Wesson SD9 VE. And SD, self-defense. That's what it stands for. VE, value enhanced. The history of the pistol, some of you may or may not know it, the Sigma line of pistols from Smith and Wesson didn't have the best reputation. And that's what came before this one. This is the baby, the antecedent to the Smith and Wesson Sigma. Is this series of pistols. They improved a lot of things with it. The number one thing you'll hear complaints on some other channels is the trigger. The trigger is their self-defense trigger. It is meant to be a self-defense trigger for those who may be new to the shooting world, who want a deliberate trigger pull. It's about an 8.5 pound pull. They say it stacks a little bit, a little bit of stacking, and then I think it's fairly crisp break. I think it's a fairly good trigger. There are Apex trigger replacements available for this thing, triggers as well as springs. The best review I've seen on that so far, I'm not going to jump into a trigger install on this one. A man's got to know his limitations. And some of the work with the trigger, there's really tiny springs, and I got kind of big hands, and I'm not meant for real fine work. That's why I don't work on watches and things. So I would leave a trigger install, me personally, up to a competent gunsmith. But if you do want to try a trigger replacement on this with an Apex trigger, check out Such's replacement. He did a perfect detailed Apex trigger replacement, and he went out and shot it, compared it, trigger pulled the whole 9 yards. I'll put the link to his video down in the description. So if you're interested in the trigger replacement, check that video out. Excellent video. I myself, I'm going to leave this alone. For what I'm intending to do with this may be my carry piece. 8.5 pound trigger pull is not going to bother me, especially in a self-defense situation. I'm certainly not going to notice 8.5 pounds versus 6 or 5 or whatever you want to get it down to. I think the Apex trigger pull, when you watch Such's review, gets it down into the 5 range. If that's what you want to do, that's fabulous. Go ahead. I am going to leave this alone at 8.5 pounds. It's not bad. And the take-up, the reset isn't bad. I like the sights, the 3-dot sights. We haven't talked about the sights yet on this thing. They're 3-dot sights. You probably can't see it there. I'm sweeping my face again. I'm off to the side here. But 3 dots, I like the 3-dot sight system. And there's a little bit of room in there for that front sight. It's thinner, so you got some room around it. I like that. I think it's better target acquisition. A little bit, it's got the tactile roughed up spot right here for your finger. I think it's a great reminder where you got to keep your finger. I think that's awesome. Good design from Smith and Wesson. You got front slide cuts as well as the rear, and then you got the Picatinny rail in the front. I think that's fabulous. It's got grips for the front and the rear roughed up. I think that's fabulous. You'll notice it doesn't have any external safety. There's no external safety back here. It's got that Glock style trigger. This one's a pivot style trigger as opposed to the Glock having the front blade in it. But same kind of principle. So it's drop safe, carry safe, and this may be my next carry piece. Okay, let's take it apart now. Drop the magazine. Got to dry fire it, just like the Taurus. Have you seen my Taurus G2 how to disassemble video? It was the same kind of thing. I didn't squeeze the trigger, couldn't get the darn thing apart. Pull it back a little bit. You got those little spots here. Oops. Little tabs on. Squeeze trigger, back. Pull down tabs, let it go. If your hands aren't too sweaty. Pull down that tab, oops, and then off. Comes apart like a Glock 19. There's the polymer lower with the metal inside that makes it a gun. Here we have, this is a plastic guide rod. However, this doesn't bind up, and oops, as I drop it on the ground, doesn't bind up and have any issues so far that the Taurus had. I'll leave it like this. I'll run it at the range if I have any issues. I'm sure there's a metal guide rod replacement, probably from Lakeline LLC, which I will pick up. Barrel pops out like so. All stainless steel. Nice and clean because I haven't shot this yet. There's your 3-dot sights. A little safer way to look at the slide and the 3-dot sights, huh? But a nice, my wife's nodding her head back there. Yeah, you can point it at your head now, honey. Alright, let's put it back together. The guide rod and spring, however, make sure it's going the right way. There's 2 sides to that thing, skinny side that goes in here. You kind of got to work that down in there and make sure it's straight. Kind of look at it like that. It even says so in the owner's manual. Make sure it's straight, and then grab your polymer side, slide the rails on, and we're back together. Check the function, we're good. Okay, so anyway, Smith and Wesson SD9 VE, 2 chrome-plated 16-round magazines, polymer gun, basically like a Glock 19. So much like the Glock 19 that I understand that for each one of these Smith and Wesson cells they have to pay Glock $9. I guess that was settled out of court. From what I understand, because it looks so much like a Glock 19, the Glock is a little heavier, believe it or not. This is a few grams lighter than the Glock. When I get the range video, you guys are going to be the first ones to see it. So here is my Smith and Wesson. Here's my Taurus, which it replaced as far as what's going to possibly be my carry piece. And that's it for tonight, folks. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you like what you see, and leave your comments. As you see, I respond to everybody's comments. I've got a lot of nice ideas. That's what I'm here for you guys. So please subscribe, share this video if it's a decent enough video for you. Check out Such's video on the Apex trigger. And thanks for watching. See you next time.